Air conditioning time is here. In today's video, I want to give you the 5 biggest air conditioning mistakes that homeowners don't know. And unlike many videos out there, I think the ones that I'm going to give you are out of the ordinary. It's not going to be your just run of the mill, oh, set your thermostat a little higher to save money, right? I do want to say real quick, thank you to the sponsor of this video, BOLDR, but we'll get to them in just a moment. 5 biggest air conditioning mistakes. Number 1 is over-sealing the home. We're seeing a lot of upgrades be done to today's homes. Folks are sealing, they're encapsulating crawl spaces, they're conditioning attics, they are adding to the overall insulation of their home, maybe double pane windows, and doing lots of things to save money on their utility bills, which, by the way, are all great things, but I don't think enough homeowners consider the impact that it could have on their air conditioning when they do that, especially if you live in a humid area where humidity is something you have to consider. And when you go making your home more tighter, you are causing your system to have shorter run times. Again, I'm all for making your home tighter and sealing it better and insulated better, because this is one of the struggles I have with a lot of homeowners sometimes. They don't quite understand that when I'm saying no, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but yes, it's a bad thing, right? If you go and make the envelope of your home so much better than it used to be, now you hypothetically have a HVAC system that should have been sized correctly for the home before those upgrades. And so now you're in a situation where it's similar to if you would have just simply oversized the system to start with. Oversized systems have shorter run times, humidity problems, short cycling, and all kinds of other issues. You can just Google all the mold and mildew and all the different problems folks have had in their home from these issues. So before you do any of these upgrades, I would make sure you talk to someone that knows about ventilation, they know about proper load calculations for HVAC systems, and so on. Number 2, I don't think enough folks in our country consider mini splits when it comes to heating and cooling their home. Now, hold on before you skip ahead. I know you immediately are probably thinking, oh, he wants me to replace my great conventional system that all I've got is a few vents in each room, and now he wants me to have something hanging on my wall. Although I think wall-hung mini splits are great, especially in certain applications, mini splits have come a very long way. We've done other videos on how much better they are because of all the options you have now. It's not just the ones that hang on the wall. They have floor mounts, they have ducted mini splits now, they have regular air handlers that can match up to your existing ductwork, but is technically mini split technology. There's recess, ceiling mount, cassettes. There's so many different mini split options out there. And I would say definitely look into those options before replacing your next heating and air system. And before we get to number 3, I just want to take a moment to tell you about the sponsor of today's video because they're doing so many cool things. I recently put the BOLDR Klima matched with my mini split, and I'm able to control it not only from my phone, but I don't have to try to find that pesky remote that I'm always losing. The Klima looks clean. It's a sharp looking thermostat. It's got that mirror finish, and they're doing a lot of cool new things that a lot of folks don't know about. They've got a new technology called the Health Check AI, and it can monitor how the unit's efficiency is decaying over time. And that's in addition to getting customized alerts for maintenance right on your phone. The second awesome thing that they're doing is something called mode conflict resolution. Basically what that is if you have multiple mini splits in your home and they're on the same outdoor unit, a lot of folks don't know until they own one of these systems that if they're all in one mode, so if they're all in air conditioning mode, for example, and you were to try to just change one system to heat, the system won't operate. BOLDR has eliminated that problem, so that way if one gets changed, it will prevent multi-head systems from entering into mode conflict. And then finally, if you just happen to be a pro watching this video, they're doing a lot of cool things with pros specifically. They're offering really cool products. You can put your branding on the thermostat. Your brand can be in the app itself, and it makes it to where customers can get access to your contact information and scheduling all within their app. So many cool things come in. They've got more stuff coming as well. I'll put a link to them down in the description of this video. We're going to be doing more More videos soon. Check those out. Thanks again to BOLDR. And now let's get back to our list. Number 3 is setting the fan to the on position instead of auto. Now, I'm not saying there's never a time where I set my thermostat on the on position for the fan, but a lot of folks don't understand if you do that, that fan is going to run constantly, day and night, until you switch it back to auto. Auto, in contrast, will only turn on when that system is calling for AC. So if it's on auto and it's not running, but then it gets warm in that room, system turns on and fan blows then. The biggest problem here is if it were to be in the on position, you could have humidity issues. It can pull humidity back into the home. It can re-evaporate moisture that's been brought out of the air and is now sitting on the evaporator coil or in the primary drain pan and literally evaporate back into the home. I remember years ago having a customer where they were having humidity issues and literally just changing that fan mode to auto fixed it. Number 4, thermostat location. And this is something I don't think enough folks think about, and I don't think they think about it correctly. And we're going to do a video in the future on just that. But what do I mean? So a lot of folks will think that a thermostat, just simply relocating it from one room to another, might fix a room being hot or cold. So if you imagine a heating and air system that is supplying 6 rooms and one of those rooms is hot. And so a lot of contractors will go through all the work and charge the customer a bunch of money to simply relocate that thermostat to the room that's hot. And what ends up happening is the system just runs longer because now it's in a room that's warmer and that room now may get cool and reach temperature to that thermostat setting, but now all the other rooms are now too cold. You may have a ductwork or a zoning issue, not a thermostat location issue. That said, I'm not saying that thermostat location doesn't matter at all. Putting that thermostat in a location where it can be affected dramatically by things such as cooking in the kitchen, direct sunlight, other appliances or electronics in the home, all of those things can play a big role. Stay tuned to a video we're going to do in the future on this exact topic. And then finally, number 5 is I don't think enough folks give enough thought to things like closing doors in their home and the air balancing that needs to be taken into effect based on the location of their supply vents and their return vents. So when you go closing doors, those rooms may starve for air. That's why you see a lot of homes where they will literally cut the bottom of the door up a little bit, make that gap a little larger for better airflow. Now, in a perfect world, every room would be balanced correctly. Every room would have enough supply and enough return at all times of the year, but I have never stepped foot in the perfect home. I used to have a customer who knew their home so well and they didn't want to spend a bunch of money tearing open walls and insulating things better. And they just simply knew that their laundry room got super hot during the day, especially if they were using their washer and dryer. But the way the sunlight would come into that room, it would get super warm and it was in this hallway. So they would literally close the door so that air could come down that hallway where there was a return, and that room would get really warm during the day. But then at night, they would open that room back up. So when they were gone during the day to save money and not try to dump AC into a room that's going to be super hot anyway, they would close that door, let it do its thing. It would get a good 85 degrees in that room during the day. But then when they would get home at night, they'd open that room, it would cool it back down. And just knowing those sorts of things, getting to know your home probably would go a long way, but just understanding the air balancing and closing doors can play a big role with your air conditioning and comfort. Let me know your thoughts. Did I miss a mistake that you think is a big problem? Please share down in the comment section. I do my best to read all of those. If you like this video, I think you'll like this one even more. It's where I share some of the summertime mistakes that a lot of homeowners don't know. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button for more HVAC tips. We'll see you next time.